Ladies and gentlemen, friends, fans, and fellow admirers of wit and wisdom, today we gather in spirit to remember and honor the extraordinary life of Scott Adams, a man whose sharp mind, irreverent humor, and unyielding curiosity left an undeniable mark on our world. Scott passed from this life on January 13th, 2026, at the age of 68, after a valiant battle with metastatic prostate cancer. We acknowledge the loss, but we do not dwell on the end. Instead, we honor the journey. Scott Adams was more than the creator of Dilbert. He was a satirist, a thinker, an entrepreneur, and a seeker, someone who challenged us to question the absurdities of modern life, especially the ones we were told to accept without thought. Born on June 8, 1957, in Windham, New York, Scott grew up in a modest household, the son of a postal worker and a real estate agent. From an early age, his intellect stood out. He was a voracious reader, drawn to comics and science fiction, sparking a lifelong fascination with ideas, systems, and storytelling. He earned a bachelor's degree in economics from Hartwick College in 1979, and later completed an MBA at the University of California, Berkeley, in 1986. These weren't just credentials. They were tools that sharpened the analytical edge behind his satire. Before fame, Scott spent years in the corporate trenches at Crocker National Bank and Pacific Bell. Endless meetings, pointless memos, office politics. It was there, inside that bureaucracy, that Dilbert was born. Scott launched the comic strip in 1989, and what began as simple desk doodles became a global phenomenon. By the mid-1990s, Dilbert appeared in over 2,000 newspapers worldwide. Through characters like the pointy-haired boss, Catbert, and Dogbert, Scott distilled workplace frustration into razor-sharp humor. He didn't just make us laugh, he gave voice to millions who felt unheard. His books, including The Dilbert Principle and Dogbert's Top Secret Management Handbook, became bestsellers by blending comedy with uncomfortable truth. Scott once said, "Creativity is allowing yourself to make mistakes. Art is knowing which ones to keep." He kept the ones that mattered. Beyond comics, Scott explored philosophy, persuasion, and human behavior. Through writing, blogging, and the Coffee with Scott Adams podcast, he dissected culture with logic and levity. He welcomed controversy not to divide, but to provoke thought, reminding us that growth requires questioning everything. In his personal life, Scott experienced love, loss, and reinvention. He was a stepfather to Savannah and Justin. After Justin's tragic death in 2018 due to fentanyl overdose, Scott turned grief into advocacy, speaking out against the opioid crisis. Health challenges followed: spasmodic dysphonia, then prostate cancer, but he faced them with transparency, resilience, and humor. In his final days came a transformation that touched many. A lifelong atheist, Scott announced on January 5, 2026, that he had accepted Jesus Christ as his Savior. Influenced by close friends and reflection, he found peace in faith. Not a contradiction, but an evolution. Scott Adams leaves behind a legacy that transcends panels and pages. He taught us to laugh at the absurd, think critically, and challenge the status quo. In a world heavy with seriousness, he reminded us that humor is rebellion. Rest in peace, Scott. Your Dilbert may have been cubicle-bound, but your impact knows no walls. Thank you for the laughter, the lessons, and the light.